And we'll move on to the next submission, which is the Yoursection.nz, Hamish Wheelans.
Thank you, Mayor and Councillors. As a brief introduction, I'm Hamish Wheelans and Kerry Watson beside me from Your Section. We have been developing in the Greater Christchurch area for just over 20 years, 22 years in land development, and created in excess of 2,500 residential lots in that area. My submission is really about infrastructure and infrastructure enabling growth or lack thereof, and where that infrastructure expenditure needs to be included in the annual plan. So I'll just go through some bullet points from my submission. The Greater Christchurch Partnership has been set up to collaboratively work together to manage future growth within the Greater Christchurch Partnership regions. I believe one of the key elements in managing future growth is also forward planning of the key network infrastructure to ensure supply of land and services are available at the time of development, with the cost of those services met through development contributions paid by the developer at the development stage. Christchurch City Council has land zoned for residential purposes, but has only provided services, the key network infrastructure services, to part of that land. In 2018, City Council installed sewer and water into Outline Development Plan Area 19. And for those of you who are not sure, Area 19 is effectively between, or east of Kennedy's Bush Road, between Kennedy's Bush and Sutherland's Road, with Cashmere Road being the southern boundary. And that was funded through development contributions. However, the pipeline stopped short of providing services, network services, to the two adjoining ODP areas 20 and 21. 20 is west of Kennedy's Bush Road, between Kennedy's Bush and Halswell Road, and 21 is west of Halswell Road, approximately Sabies Road, Quaifs Road. As a result, ODP Area 19 is now predominantly developed and sold. Now, we have been a big part of Area 19 development, and that network infrastructure enabled growth to occur. It traversed multiple properties, and Council facilitated the installation of that infrastructure with those different parties. If Council does not plan for infrastructure growth in advance of growth occurring, it brings to question the validity of the infrastructure planning and whether the Greater Christchurch Partnership is able to achieve its key objectives. In addition to the provision of sewer and water is transportation. ODP Area 20 requires connection to Halswell Road at or about Candies Road. Candies Road heads west of Halswell Road and connects through to Quaifs. This intersection is important for the growth of ODP Area 21 as it provides for that important connection from southwest Halswell to southeast Halswell, effectively linking Quaifs Road through to Halswell, to Kennedy's Bush, to Sutherland's, to Sparks, and into the city. And that is in order to achieve the safe connection between those areas. The Council is aware of this important connection, however, has not currently allocated funding for that intersection, for the works, in the annual plan, nor has it put it into the capital works program. The meaning of this is the development of more than 120 residential lots within our land in ODP 20 is now held up by the provision of this new intersection with Halswell Road, and no further consents can be issued until this work is undertaken. Waka Kotahi has approved the design of the intersection, which has been funded by us to the state. However, they have placed the cost of this work on us or Council, being that it is related to urban growth and not state highway growth. Our submission to the annual plan is that essential network infrastructure such as the proposed sewer and water main in Glover's Road and the provision of the upgraded intersection at Candies Road is or should be included in the 2023-24 proposed annual plan and capital works program to enable the staged and managed growth to occur, which then reinforces the Greater Christchurch Partnership and the intentions behind it, and also to enable areas 20 and 21 to occur, or to growth to occur without hindrance. In the absence of such items being included in the annual plan, I submit the council must accept that it's responsibility of council to engage with developers in those ODP areas to undertake such works, being the network infrastructure items that are bigger scale than what is expected of the developers to undertake themselves. And those works could be undertaken by the developers with the full costs recovered through development contributions, which is the whole intention of the development contributions. And that will avoid the delays in land development through lack of infrastructure. So what I'm submitting is that if it's not in the annual plan and the budget is not available in the current annual plan, then it should be by way of infrastructure provision agreements that can make their way into subsequent annual plans by way of council budgets or staff budgets. Now, these are growth areas that council staff have been well aware of for a number of years, but very little work has been done. And I believe it's on the expectations that if we don't do it, someone else will do it, and we won't have to pay for it. But some of these bigger items, I contend, are too big to expect one party to pay for. For instance, this intersection, which I've put in my submission, I think we're expected to add approximately 12% of traffic movements through the intersection, but expected to pay probably 85% of the cost of the works. Do you have anything to add?
I think I was just going to raise percentage points.
So, if there are any questions?
Right, questions from councillors? Yep, no, thank you very much for your submission. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, the way that you presented it. So, and obviously we'll be seeking staff advice to provide us with some, because it is always a juggling position around DCs and rates-based funding, and then allocating the funding to the right financial year. And some of the developments that have been subject to resource consent, the number of properties trigger the upgrade, for example, that then the developer is responsible for, but in other instances it's not that way around. So you've raised the practical implications for what is going to be and is, I mean, an increasingly busy area as the development out there is just so enormous. So yeah.
If I could just add that my concern with the way the current system works is it's very ad hoc and inconsistent. Our initial approaches to council staff regarding the intersection was one of a cost share, and we were told no, there's no way would council meet the cost of that. Through further pushing, we were told that yes, we will meet some of the cost, but it's based on some lines on a plan which were pretty nonsensical and conditions that were nonsensical. So there are a lot of inconsistencies is what I'm really saying.
So you're asking for a planned, consistent approach
Correct.
to the expansion that is happening in that area.
Correct. And
Yep.
development contributions meet the cost of that growth, and it should be simple. But it's not currently simple.
No. Right. Thank you very much for your submission. Very clear.
Thank you.
Right. And before the break, we've got